Zentinels, Sandy here. I'm gonna be walking you through an efficient warm-up for whenever you're gonna hit legs. It's gonna get you ready and pumped up so that we can get those heavy lifts in. Now, I highly recommend that you do any kind of mobility warm-ups, especially if you have a very sedentary lifestyle or a sedentary job. Just need to get that blood flowing, get those muscles moving so that you're prepared to do those lifts, and it's gonna prevent you from getting any injuries. These are some mobility movements I like to start off with. Opening up the hips. So what you want to do, bring your feet together, hold onto them, and you want to basically rock side to side, just get them moving. Don't stay static because that's going to cause the muscles to relax a little bit too much, and we don't want them to relax too much. We just want to get some mobility and want to get some blood flowing in the muscles. Something else that I like to do is basically just do some rotations. This is going to help stretch this out and the other leg too. You also have the option of doing just one leg coming down. This one also is pretty effective, so that way if you don't have the mobility of doing both of them, or you just prefer to do one leg, you can do it this way too. And use your hands as support in the back so that your body's not rocking side to side. Try to keep your upper body as stable as possible. We're going to focus on the front and the back, and we're going to be doing rocking lunges. So you basically want to have this position. You want to have your foot that's on the ground. That's going to be the one that's going to be stretching the front of the hip. This one is going to be stretching the back. The one that's going to be stretching the hamstrings and the glutes. So you want it about a little bit wider, about that much. So you want to incline forward as much as you can, keeping the torso up. This is going to help stretch this part right here. And you want to make sure that you also keep your heel on the ground. So you stretch forward as much as possible. You can bring your knee further than the toe. That's perfectly fine. That's going to help with the mobility of the ankle. And you rock back. When you rock back, that's where you're going to stretch this foot, the one that's extended. You're going to stretch the hamstring and the glute. So you're basically going to be rocking forward, stretching this part, keeping the heel on the ground. Go back, stretch the hamstring and the glute, come forward. Do this a couple times. Remember, when you come forward, keep the torso up so that you go ahead and stretch this part of the hip. And also, a good thing about this, you're kind of already working out the glute right here. When you push up, you're basically using the glute from this position to push back up. Push, push, push. Keep torso up. Stretch this part. I want to do about 15 to 20. So now that that one's good, go ahead and switch over to the next foot. Same thing. Stretch forward. You're going to notice you're going to have a little bit less mobility because we're barely going to start on this foot, but that's okay. As we keep doing the reps, it's going to become a little bit easier. You're going to have more mobility too. Come forward, keeping torso up. It's going to stretch the back leg, the front of the hip. And then now you're extending, stretching this part of the leg, hamstring and glutes. Here you can lean forward. Now use the other leg, the glute, to push up, come up, stretch the hip, keeping that on the ground. Come forward as much as you can and just rock back and forth. All right, we're gonna keep warming up the hips, and the next one, we're gonna do what's called hip openers. You can do this on the floor if you don't have enough balance, or you can hold on to the wall or to a bar if there's something nearby. But if you have good enough balance or you wanna practice your balance, you can do this while standing up. So what you wanna do, keep your core tight, back straight, and focus on one leg. One leg's gonna stay on the ground. You wanna bring your leg up and open it. So like the name says, they're gate openers. So from here, bring it straight up, open to the side, and come back down. So this is circular movements. We're warming up the hip. So we're gonna be doing each leg. Make sure you count them so they're the same amount on each side. And keep the movement steady and controlled. You're gonna feel that firing up right here. Now we're gonna come from the outside in. we're gonna move on to the next leg, starting in the front, opening over. And we do the opposite, outward in. This is also going to be warming up your abductor muscles, these muscles right here as well. So you're going to feel them firing up. They're going to get nice and warm. But this is what you want. That's going to help tighten them and get them ready for those heavy lifts. All right, so now we're going to work on depth, and we're going to do a little bit more of the hip mobility. So what you want to do, you want to do a wide stance, feet pointing outwards, and you want to do a deep squat. As low as you can, sit into that squat. Make sure that you keep your heels on the ground, keep your back straight. You can use your elbows to push the knees out. This is going to help with your depth when you're doing squats. So if you want to work on the depth to be able to get familiar with the deep squat and, you know, getting the hips as low as possible, this is going to help, especially if you suffer with that butt wink. It's going to get you familiar with this kind of movement. Now, if you want to get a further stretch, what you can do, place your hands on the ground, elbows touching to knees, squeeze out the knees and arch forward. So this right here is going to put that pressure on the knees, opening up the hips more. And by you inclining forward, it's going to open them a lot more. And it's really going to stretch out those hips. So you can go ahead and get a much deeper squat. You want to add some mobility, so you could bounce back and forth, come back to straight, shift side to side. This is going to help with that ankle mobility too. And then to get the final warm-up, go ahead and do a few body squats. So just to get you out of this, go ahead and perform about 10 to 15 squats to get that blood flowing, and we're going to finish with the warm-up. And there you go, Sentinels. Now you are ready to hit those legs, lift heavy, and be ready and pumped so that you can do your lifts effectively, hit those PRs, not have to worry about any joints being too stiff or lacking mobility. So give this a try right before your leg workout. You're going to feel a huge difference in your lifts. It's really going to help. All right, have a great workout, and don't forget to feel great and look better.